Welcome everyone to Wow Women Workshop series with Kim O'Keefe today. We're extraordinarily privileged and really excited to hear her story. I just want to share a little bit about Kim with all of you before we start. Kim grew up in Shepparton and she raised her two daughters with her husband Brendan. And she has run her own business for the last 28 years in the service and training industry. Kim is currently the National Education and Marketing Manager for the Salons Group. And Kim's passion for our region has seen her dedicate her time to supporting the community and leading positive change. In 2016, Kim was elected to the Greater Shepparton City Council as Deputy Mayor, followed by 2 years as Mayor and currently as a councillor. Kim left school at the age of 15, and growing up, Kim had some family challenges, but that didn't stop her having an incredibly successful life. It's not surprising that Kim sees opportunity and success for everyone, and she is an absolute testament to what you can achieve in life. Kim believes it was the influence and the support of others and the relationships that she had and her attitude towards life that led her to have an optimistic, happy, and an absolutely fulfilled life. Kim is passionate about her volunteer work, among them being 20 years with the Look Good and Feel Better program. 20 years is a long time, Kim. That's sensational. As well as her weekly mornings at Food Share. She is an extremely strong advocate for women's health and the homeless. She is also serving on the board for the Fairly Leadership program. Please, everyone, welcome Kim O'Keefe. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Tracy. And you know what, when you hear that, it really makes me have a lot of reflection and, feeling about a lot of that journey along the way where I've actually been able to do a lot of those things. And, it's an exciting time. I even feel as a woman in my 50s, there's still so much more ahead as well. But it's the journey that's travelled, that's always part of where we're heading. I absolutely believe that. So today I just wanted to really, just have a chat. It's very relaxed and very casual, and it's really great to have this opportunity, particularly in these times where we feel so disconnected from people. My daughter's here today, Olivia. I haven't seen her for months. My sister, Keely. It's so beautiful to have them close to me in this forum and in many other ways, of course. But to be involved in today's discussion is very much about them as well, about family and connection. And the journey that I have travelled has obviously been with many people, and especially my family. So, it's a difficult time that we're all experiencing, and I know that there's going to be, definitely challenges ahead. But I think it's the strength and the connection to community and the will, to, hey, we're going to get through this, and there's going to be some positive things, I'm sure, to come out of it. And we have to have that sense of optimism without the rose-coloured glasses, if you like. But yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit, overwhelmed, with what we have experienced. But, I'm always very optimistic, and I'm always very curious to see where this is going to head, because none of us have the answers right now. So that's a bit about what's coming up. So pretty much, yes, I grew up in Shepparton, was raised here with 2 sisters and 4 brothers. So a big family, 7. We found out about 7 years ago we had 2 more brothers, but that's a whole nother conversation of explanation. But wonderful to know that we actually found that out, and we connected with one of those brothers. One had passed away. So now I can actually say officially I have 6 brothers and 2 sisters. So yeah, we were raised in a very small house at Bradford Road, so a social housing commission area we called it back then. We went to Wilmot Road School, and I went to Maguire, where of course I spent time with you, Trace, and we knew it as South Tech. But getting back to my childhood, I have really fond memories, and, particularly with my siblings. And I think the strength of our relationships now is based on that upbringing, the experiences we had, good and bad, the support we had for each other, and even more so now. My brothers and sisters are my strongest supporters, and certainly my go-to place a lot of the time, to share the good, to share the bad, to the tears, the happiness, all of the experiences in life. So I think, connection to my siblings is extremely important to me. We're all different. Anyone that has a lot of siblings, brothers and sisters, you're all going to have a mixed bag, as we do. But it's the goodness within all of them, that I think keeps us connected. We all have different opinions and personalities and all that sort of stuff that makes up relationships. And often relationships don't go perfect all the time. And I think that's an important thing for all of us to know. That's life. You know, it's how we deal with those situations, perhaps when there are some fractures, and how we come out the other end with a more, perhaps a better understanding of each other's needs, and not always about our own self, you know, perception. So yeah, we had a few challenges at home growing up with our parents. You know, in the younger years, I certainly remember them as the very happy times. We'd get up early and go down to the park with Dad, you know, every Sunday morning, which was pretty much after his gig, because he was a musician. So we always played on a Saturday night. That was his second job. He worked in lots of other little, you know, factories or cleaning jobs as full-time work, but he was a musician. So it meant, you know, he was always out on a Saturday night. Sunday morning, we'd be up early enough, we'd all go down to the park with Dad and, you know, have that time every week with him. So I remember that with great fondness. I also, you know, we had some challenges with our parents, and it was really alcohol related. You know, Dad's industry being a music industry, as we know, music often relates to, you know, perhaps a bit of alcohol around when they're playing at gigs. And I think, you know, that was Dad's lifestyle, and Mum was part of that. So the drinking became problematic, particularly as I got a little bit older. And I think as you do get older, you tend to question what's happening around you. There was certainly never any abuse, as in physical abuse. There were some challenging, you know, times when they were both drinking. And, you know, for me as a young person, say, remembering back when I was 8, you know, just hearing and perhaps the noise around the fighting, there'd be fighting, but just a constant different feel within the house when they were drinking. And it was a negative feel. So as we got a little bit older, I think that the challenges of having teenagers and that situation didn't line up so well. So my elder sister left home at 14. I wasn't much older when I first left home. And that was to be supported by other people, you know, that could perhaps take us in and look after us at that time when we weren't coping in that environment. That was always hard because I didn't want to leave my siblings behind. I wanted to be around there to be the support for them. And when I left, my oldest brother had already gone, my sister had already gone, and I was the third eldest. So I felt very motherly to my younger siblings. I wanted to be there for them. So that was probably my thing. And I always went back. So I'd go and live somewhere for a little while, but I'd try and, you know, get back into the house, get back into the situation and make it work better. So that went on and off. I had about 4 or 5 different places where I moved out. You know, we'd end up going back home again to try and make it work, but it didn't work a lot of the time. So then when I got to the age of about, I think I was nearly 18, my younger sister, who was nearly 15, Keely, 16, she's here today, she came and lived with me. So I was able to look after her and we lived together. By that stage, it was only a few years later than that, probably a couple of years up the track, that, you know, my dad had been very unwell. He had a lot of mental health issues and the drinking stopped. So therefore the home life at home became a lot more stable. And it was really interesting to think when Dad stopped drinking, so did Mum. You know, so I don't know, were they alcoholics? Were they heavy drinkers? You know, they would drink at least probably once, definitely sometimes twice a week. And we'd probably call it a bit of a session when they'd have their drinking. But and once the alcohol stopped, well, everything changed, of course. There was a much more normal, I suppose, relationship building. We were disengaged for them for quite some time, a couple of, I'd say probably close to 2 years. And then, you know, I always wanted to be part of family and to not have that difficult relationship. So we just knocked on their door one day and, you know, turned up and said we'd love to, you know, try and make things work, you know, be better. And so I could see my younger brothers at that time more. So we got through that. And I think, you know, you've always got to know that from those experiences comes lots of things, you know, and I look back and think, wow, yes, I was getting up in the middle of the night. My baby brother, who was a newborn baby, how old am I? 10 years older than Reece. I was getting up, giving him his bottle, you know, when they were drinking, and, you know, just things in life that made you perhaps have to sort of be aware of your surroundings, I think is a thing I learned. And so that was pointed out to me not so long ago that, you know, often I'm very quick at really tapping into what's happening around me and quick to work out what I need to do. And I think that comes from some of those experiences. You know, when you hit with something, you're not quite sure what today's going to bring. When you're in a fairly fractured, you know, situation, that you're not quite sure what's going to happen today. And when it does happen, you modify yourself to those circumstances. So I think it made me more resilient. Definitely made me grow up a little bit too quick. But you know, Keely and I did really well. We paid our rent. We both worked. We paid our bills, you know, we did everything that we needed to do. And I think that's another strong life lesson. You know, it taught us a lot of things about managing ourselves, working. You know, we had friends, we had very strong support, you know, amongst ourselves. Keely had some great friends. I had some wonderful, you know, older people looking, you know, friends. I had people that I worked for that certainly took me under their wing. I first started working at 15 years of age at Oliver and Brian Gray's in the card shop. And they saw me at Wishbone Chicken. And it was actually the way I approached people that they were attracted to me, as in offering me a job. And I look at that and I think that is definitely one of my strengths, the way I communicate and engage with people, the way I love people. And that's never changed. You know, when I meet someone, I'm always very curious and interested in someone, regardless of their background or who they are. So they met me over the counter at the chicken shop, and they used to come in all the time, and I used to smile and speak to them and engage with them. And then they just rang up one day and said, you know, we'd love you to come and work for us full time. They thought I was working at the chicken shop full time, and that to them, that was a bit of a promotion, but I was actually still at school. So yeah, so off I went. And I'm still very good friends with those people today, and they certainly have been incredible. I was very, very fortunate to work with people that, you know, really could see that my circumstances had some difficulties, and they would support me through those times. So full-time work, you spend lots of time with those people, you know. And at that time when I first started there, getting back to that at 15, I was moving in and out of a few different houses and so forth. So they were very good to me, as are, you know, lots of other friends that I've kept, you know, along the way. So yeah, so the challenge is, you know, as you move forward, you know, as I said, we built relationships back with my parents. My dad passed away when I was pregnant with Olivia, actually, and that was quite sad. It was quite tragic circumstances. He did take his life, and that was to do with his mental health, and obviously much more severely impacted than what we realised he was. So that was a shock. And obviously it changes again circumstances within your life. So, you know, we then rallied to support mum. And moving forward, and that's Olivia's 28, so that's 28 years ago we lost dad. So, you know, we've been able to really build a good relationship with mum. And I always believe in not holding grudges, or, you know, because the point of that, if you, you know, if you're angry and if you're resentful for some of the circumstances that you had to experience, you carry that as baggage through your life, and you don't want to do that. You know, I think you want to build a better life and relationships, and we certainly did that with mum. You know, we certainly, she was an interesting woman at times, and I think, you know, she certainly had some challenges herself growing up. She lost her mum very young, and I definitely think it impacted on the way she mothered us. So it definitely impacted. But she, you know, she was a very good woman, and she, in the future, you know, we got to share that good part of her so much better as we were all adults, and we really did support her a lot, and we wanted to be a family. And even though there was some circumstances that we were disappointed with, we couldn't change it. And I think, as I said, carrying that baggage through life is a bad thing, and you don't need to do that. Of course, you have to face those things, and we have to understand that, you know, it wasn't what should have happened, particularly some of the things that happened to us as a young family, but it did happen. And I think you need to learn from that, be stronger, learn from it's a big thing. You know, we had conversations with mum at times, but yeah, you know, when people get older, I think you have that sense of, okay, you know, we need to be the bigger person here, and have to say we accept that. So that was an interesting time, you know. And then of course I met Brendan quite young. I mean, I was working and looking at career opportunities. I was looking at going to Melbourne actually to do hairdressing, and I'd saved a lot of money and had booked into a course. And Keely and I were still living together at that time. I hadn't met, you know, Brendan as a partner, and I was saving and saving, working 3 jobs actually. So I was working at the pharmacy during the day. I was working at the Park Lake at night, and I was actually doing some TAFE courses because I had this skill of being able to, you know, teach people how to do makeup. So I thought, you know, I could do a little grooming course at TAFE and, you know, really save some money. So I always looked at those opportunities within my skill set and what I was capable of. And I could see that, you know, no one had been doing grooming courses, or, you know, student or teenage deportment and grooming. So I put a little program together and presented it to PACE. It actually was the course back then. And so I was saving, doing 3 jobs. Keely and I were paying our bills. I was working, and I was going to head off to Melbourne. And then a job came up, and actually, so I wasn't at the pharmacy, I was at Olive and Bryant's at that time. So a job came up at the pharmacy, and I thought, you know, if I get that, I'll stay. If I don't, I'll go. And I ended up getting that position at Werner's Pharmacy. So, you know, circumstance in life changed my path. If I hadn't got that job, I would have gone. I got the job, thought that might be something I would be interested in, which started my career in beauty. And I ended up staying with my sister, and then moving on to meet Brendan. So yeah, so sometimes those interesting little circumstances of life change your path completely, because I was set to go, and had I not got that job, I would have gone, and I would have been in Melbourne, and I wouldn't be here today talking to you, and who knows where I'd be. So anyway, so that's that. And of course I met Brendan, and you know, we knew each other through friends for more than 3 years. We'd both come out of, you know, longer term relationships. I hadn't had a boyfriend for about 12 months. I was a bit over it, and met him unexpectedly. And in saying that, we were only going out together for 5 months before we got engaged, and then married within the year. And this year we celebrate our 35 years or 34 years of marriage. So yeah, amazing. So he's been a very good support. We are very different, and I'll call him more the tortoise and me the hare. He certainly likes to do things in a more, slower pace, and, just walk through life, stop and smell the roses, enjoy life. Or I'm definitely looking over my shoulder, what's coming next, what's happening. So he's been a very good support, and certainly the support that someone within my personality needed. I definitely am a strong vision type of person. I see things ahead of me that I want to do. And I think had I had someone, and I say this probably sounds a little bit, I don't know how it sounds, but had I had someone that had stopped me or not been on board with some of my aspirations, I certainly wouldn't have been able to be the person I am in many ways today, because I've had that freedom, I suppose. And sometimes we see, what's happening there? Don't know what happened there. So sometimes, we don't get that opportunity. And if we have a life partner that we can, hopefully get, that's very supportive and understanding, and you can have that mutual ground, because it can't always be my way. And I think that's the thing about relationships. There has to be that sort of common ground. So so Brendan's come along for the ride, and it's certainly been a ride, that's for sure. I started my own business in 1988. I was working in a salon for another woman, and she was wonderful to me. She certainly allowed me to develop as well, let me take a lot of leadership within my job, which gave me the confidence to step into my own business. And at that time, we'd only been married a couple of years. We had Emma as a baby. And I can remember Brendan saying to me, having your own business, you will have more freedom, you will have more flexibility, than working for someone. If you want to work and that's what you want to do, and we need to do that, I could see that I would definitely have more flexibility. So I was very fortunate to have my own business, open my own salon, did that for many years, had my girls, had great staff, and then moved into having a full beauty salon for many years, but also saw the opportunity. There was no training school here either. There was nothing to train. I had to go to Melbourne. I had to do external training for my training. So again, I saw an opportunity, and I thought, this is interesting. I'll talk to where I've been doing my training to see if there would be an opportunity to do something in the country area. And that's sort of how I started offering some training locally, which then led into a full service beauty therapy school, and was the only one here for many years. And then, of course, other people see that idea and opportunity, and then you get more competition. But with that, I had a really great run. I had a lot of really good years. I've had a lot of wonderful connections to very successful women that I've trained, and created that opportunity for them as well. And I think that's so great, when you can be part of someone else's success and you still sit back and see them growing and flourishing, and you've been part of that olive branch, if you like. It's one of my greatest things that I enjoy the most in life, to sit back and go, well, I've actually been part of that, and I've been able to put them on a path of success that they were hoping to achieve. So my career has been very fulfilling, and over 28 years in the beauty industry, having a school, raising my girls. But I did get to a point a few years back where, it was a bit of, okay, I'm getting older, I'm getting tired of doing all the services. I was pretty much in the salon 2 days a week and training 2 days a week. I just couldn't let go of my clients a lot of the time, because you feel so connected, and they've been so supportive over so many years. You build this incredible relationship, but also you feel, hey, they've been there for me, I've got to be there for them. And it's almost like a marriage. It's almost like a connection that you just feel you're going to divorce them if you leave. So I wanted to stay in the salon as well. So I did cut back, kept a lot of my long-term clients a couple of days a week, and then trained, kept our training going. But when it came time to actually leave the salon, it was actually really tough. I really felt awful, and a lot of my clients wouldn't let go. So I would get little messages, but I know you'll just do my eyebrows. I know that we don't have to tell anybody, just do my nails, or and it was so funny, and it was really hard. But in saying it, I also had such incredible support from them as well when I said I was going on to this next journey of what I wanted to do, which was to do more in the community. And then the council election was coming up, and I knew if I was to do that, I'd want to do it 100%. So there's lots of things going on around me, but I knew the timing change was coming. There was certainly change within my business as well. I saw some opportunities on the surface that I could perhaps do as well while I was doing my salon and my school. And one of those opportunities was with the Salons Group. So the Salons Group is a company that they had a nail product that we were using within our training school. The education was pretty weak, and in all fairness, I don't like criticising other people, and I just wasn't seeing the professional level of training that I see needed to be portrayed in the industry. So I did send a little email to the manager who I knew very well and just said, look, Sue's a lovely lady and we get on well, but look, I just would like to see a little bit more better professional, image around this brand, because I'm representing it for you as well. I'm putting it in my school. I'm recommending it to salons. It's just missing the mark. So that was good and actually worked out quite well, because I never once, dramatically criticised. I wanted to be part of the improvement process. She was a very strong-minded, more mature woman. She was probably in her 60s at that time. And she took a little bit of as criticism, and I was very, very careful to say, hey, look, there's such an opportunity to do things better and let's work out what that means. So long story short, she left. Okay, she just could not cope. And I was very disappointed with that, because I felt, okay, I think she'd had enough anyway. And I think maybe that was what needed to happen. And maybe she needed that push to say, well, I don't want to keep investing into this. It's not where I'm heading. So anyway, so then all of a sudden he had no one to take on the education role. And I said, well, I'd love to do that. I certainly could see an opportunity. And I said, there's so much to this brand that we could improve on. So we turned it around. We turned it on its head, and I'm really proud of it. And he also didn't have an online training model. So within that 12 months, I looked at that and my life was changing. I was moving away from the salon, and this could be an opportunity of working from home in a space that would be such a great opportunity. So I just sent him an email saying, look, I think we should do this, offer online training. We had a model set up. Don, who owns the company, he makes the product. He also makes other products nationally. He makes glue for Bunnings, and industrial glue. His wife had this nail system, this product. So she was almost retired. They didn't really want to be doing much. They didn't have children. They didn't have anyone to take on their businesses. So he just wanted really someone to just look after it. So that suited me, because I had full reign of taking control of what I needed to do with that product. And that was exciting. And of course I asked other people. I had staff that had moved away that I could get them on board to help. And we got a production team in, we filmed an online training model, and within 12 months we'd gone up, something like 700% in our hit, like a massive turnaround. So he's been very good. He's actually based in New Zealand. And I've never seen him face to face, and I've been with him for 9 years. So this is my Charlie's Angel, I call him, and they go off on their yacht and they do what they do in life. But it's a fantastic thing, because he has a product and I have the training, and it's a great marriage of what needs to happen within a company. And actually I got an email from him a couple of weeks ago, just saying, Kim, if there's anything you need, I know things are quiet, do you need a bit of commission in advance? He's just a great guy. So I've been really fortunate that I can keep the passion of the industry that I've been involved in for so many years, that I can still be involved in it, but in a way that doesn't consume my day, because my passion at the moment, as you know, is within my council role and community. So it's a good backstop. You've got to have a backstop, because politics and council, I don't know
what should I do, Paul? I do need to do something in this area. Would you hear that?
We can hear someone talking. That's all right. So yeah, so at the moment that's my day job as such. So I'm their National Education and Marketing Manager. We have 5 girls on our team. One of those girls, Kylie, worked for me for 8 years, and she's based in Queensland, and she's a great support as well. And basically they run their own thing. Whatever they can, get people on board to do the training, they get a very generous commission, and they also can offer other components of the training. So that's pretty much my day job outside my council role. So when I was sort of, looking at that transition time, and when council came up, I had looked at council the time before, about the term before, so 4 years before. I'd said to my husband, that's something I reckon I would really be interested in, because local government and any form of government is interesting. Some might say something different. So I just felt the timing was right the next time. So 4 years before, I said, no, look, I've still got too much going on, but maybe who knows how we'll feel in 4 years' time. The girls were still quite young, keeping busy with them. So anyway, so off I went. So 4 years later, I thought, all right, I think the time's right. Let's do it. Let's have a look at what it means to be a councillor. Have I got the mindset, the knowledge, the experience? And they were probably the concerns I had going into a council position, or putting up my hand to be on council, is that, do I have the knowledge? I left school in year 9, even though I've done lots of things since then. Do I, am I intelligent enough? Am I going to be able to be the fit that needs to be a success, and to be able to support the community where I would need to? So that was probably my biggest fear. I spoke to a lot of people within the community, and I certainly spoke to a lot of community leaders and great people. And it always came back to, Kim, if you are, community spirited, you will step up to the mark. You'll obviously learn a lot along the way. You'll take it very seriously, and you will really enjoy it. So I think along, Jeanette Powell, she encouraged me. She said, you're so you're so invested already in this region. You know, this is where I'm staying. It's where I was pretty much born and bred. I'm staying here and I want good things for the community, and the community that had given so much to me over the years within both of our businesses, Brendan's business and my business. You know, we want to see good things to continue as well, you know, in the future. So it was a perfect fit, other than, yeah, me being nervous about there's going to be a lot to learn. But then, you know, that's exciting. So put my hand up for the election. It was a very interesting process. You know, you certainly don't know what to expect, and we don't know what to expect again this next time. But I can remember the night before the election, you know, there's a lot of talk saying, you know, Kim, we think you're going to do really well. You've got lots of support. And I said to my husband, I don't want to do it now. I think it's too scary. I don't, you know, I'm too nervous. What happens if I do get it? You know, there was that almost that panic of, you know, wow, you know, what have I done? You know, is this going to be the right thing? And that's probably the next thing we're going to talk about. It's a bit about fear, you know, because sometimes we stop ourselves doing things because of fear. We're frightened that, well, it might fail, or I might be good at it. And that's a big part of what I do in life. I want to be good at whatever I do. And it's not always the case. You're not going to be good at everything, you know, and it's been a good lesson learning for me. So I think, you know, had I stood back and then not put up my hand at that time, I don't think I would have done it in the future. I think that was my window where it was going to happen. I would have probably gone on and got more invested in my job. I don't know, done something different. I just felt the timing was right, even though I had that fear. So I jumped in and thought, all right, what's the worst case scenario? And that's often what we need to ask ourselves. Yes, okay, I get elected. What's the worst case scenario? Well, the worst case scenario is you're probably going to have to depend on other people a lot to learn along the way. And that was probably something I'd never done in life. It was one of my weaknesses. I've never been good at delegating. I've never been good at giving others perhaps opportunities that they should have been given, because I was always I felt more in control if I was doing it, is probably the thing. So this whole coming into a whole new space of the unknown and not having the experience and the knowledge was petrifying. I was so out of control, you know, as for a person that was in control of everything in every way, and suddenly to be in this space. So I had to really take a lot of deep breaths, and I had a lot of, you know, sort of, oh wow, this is full on. This is going to be full on. What have you done to yourself, you know? But then I started to see the interesting, you know, process of how it happens for a council. Or, you know, you have to be supported. There is training. There is a process of, you know, a journey of learning. And there's so many interesting things within council that all of a sudden, like, you know, I stepped up again and thought, oh, this is actually really cool. This is so interesting, and such a wonderful way for me to be involved in community. But at my age, to be learning so many different things, you know, to be learning new things in life, and to be learning the local government and all the strategies and policies, and a whole space I'd never been really that involved in, other than my community want and will to make things great across our region. So it's been an incredible, you know, 4-year journey, and certainly one that's continuing. You know, there's so much still to learn, and I'm really hoping I get re-elected. I feel so much stronger this time going in. Obviously, I've got so much more knowledge, but I just feel still so much more to offer, and stepping up to that next platform of having that experience and then learning that next whole, you know, 4-year process. So yeah, so it's been lots of fun. But I think, you know, the biggest thing for me too, during all of these processes within my business, my family, council, is the people you meet along the way. You know, it's people that actually shape us and that we learn from. And I think even though I said I found it difficult to delegate, I never found it difficult to communicate. You know, always had fantastic staff that we appreciated each other. We had great respect. And I think always I had staff that left on very good terms. So when I look back, yes, I should have probably given them more opportunities to lead rather than me being the leader. And that was, you know, me basically feeling that I was, you know, I was the one that needed to do all that. So that when I've met people where I've learnt a lot from, you know, and I've met so many people, you know, through life, and I look back now, even before my council term, the things that I've learnt from others is the powerful things in life, you know, and it does build up that sort of pyramid, if you like, of who we become. You know, I meet people sometimes that I'm just so incredibly impressed, you know, with their knowledge, or, you know, the way they approach things, the way they communicate, their respect, or their education, you know, so many layers. But I think, yeah, all of these things that, you know, that help develop who we are, and certainly has helped me develop through life, has been a combination of relationships and connections. And it's really powerful. And I think when we start stopping to understand that what that means, I think that's when we stop learning in life, because we learn so much from each other, you know, and so many different emotions. And emotions is another thing. You know, I'm a very curious person. I'm a very optimistic person. And I said I'm a very engaging person. I love to engage. And, you know, I remember my mum telling me a story, which she didn't tell me many, but when she was dying and I was sitting with her, she said, you know, Kim, you were always a little chatterbox. You'd say to people, what's your name? You know, she said, I couldn't take you anywhere. You always had that lovely, you know, engagement and curiosity. And my husband will tell you, we were at a friend's house a few months ago and there was a car pull up and I just said, oh, hi, what's your name? You know, I'm Kim. And I ended up meeting this incredible woman through that, just saying hello, you know, across the car park, hi, you know, and just interested in another human being. It was just as COVID was hitting, and I met my friend Yvonne, 94-year-old Yvonne. You've probably seen, you know, heard me talk about on Facebook. A woman of wisdom and life experience, and now we've become such good friends. And I sit with her when I get to see her, and I love it. I love the experience. I love her positivity. I love her cheekiness. And I love her ability that she's at 94 years of age, still so optimistic, you know, and has such great stories. So those relationships, those opportunities, you know, to really chat with people or meet someone, or, you know, I'm just like a sponge. I really love being around people, and it's like oxygen, really, for me, you know, to be with people. COVID, I've hardly been home, but I've been sticking to the COVID rules. I will tell you, I've been, you know, volunteering and, you know, I could not sit home. I could not do it. I'm trying, and I have when I have to, and I certainly haven't broken too many rules, I'm sure, but I had to have a sense of purpose. And I think that's very much who I am too. You know, I had to be, well, what am I going to do to help this situation? You know, all of our council duties stopped pretty much, other than, you know, our Zoom meetings once a week on a Tuesday. So I had to look at what was happening within the community and how I could fulfill, you know, how I could be of help and a support and have a sense of purpose during this, you know, this incredibly time of uncertainty. So I've been doing food share 2 mornings a week. Now I've got to meet people I wouldn't get to meet, you know, before. I've got to meet wonderful, giving, kind, incredible, beautiful people from all walks of life, which I love. We stack shelves, we unpack boxes, we see the best side of human nature, people donating food, people wanting to get in there and help their fellow humans. So that's been an experience I wouldn't have had, you know, had we not had COVID. And meeting Yvonne, as I said, and just lots of other, you know, different experiences I'm getting to do, learning to Zoom. And, you know, it's going to be a changed world, I think, you know, with what we've experienced. And some of that will be good. Some of it, you know, we know there's going to be some really hardship and some difficult challenges ahead for many people. But I also think there's going to be a lot of positive change. You know, a lot of people talking about now how they could probably work from home a couple of days a week and in the office 2 days a week and have that more quality time perhaps with their children or infant or whatever that means. So I think, you know, with any circumstances in life, if we can look at the balance of, yes, we know there's hardship, but there's also positivity, there's change, there's what is in front of us, you know, how are we going to deal with it, and how do we deal with it as a community, as a household, as a family, you know, all those things that matter most. I think that's where we need to head, you know, really look ahead. There's always things over our shoulder behind us, but it's how we deal with what's in front of us right now that's going to really change the lives of all of us in many ways. Yes, how are we going for time? You're on mute, Trace.
Yeah, no, we're going great. I could listen to you for hours. I've written a whole heap of notes here, Kim. Tell me, and I will open it to the floor, but tell me if someone right now is sitting here listening to you, and you know, they're blown away by your journey. And for me, when I listen to you, it's like a bubbling of enthusiasm, and I love that, because it you know, I mean, obviously you're a positive person, and positive people have that aura about them. So if someone was sitting here listening to your journey, they've got an idea they want to pursue, but the word fear, that F word, not the other one, that fear word, what would you say to them in terms of, or, you know, are there any tips or strategies that you can share throughout your experience? What did you do to overcome that overwhelming fear? Maybe the little voice that talks to you in the back of your head. Anything you can share with someone that's kind of on the fence at the moment going, yeah, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And I think a lot of us, you know, fear can be a good thing as well. It can make you stock take of what you have to really think about the consequences, you know. But I think, and I've also supported a lot of women going into their own businesses, and we've had these conversations. Is it the right time? What's your fear? You know, how can you manage it? You have to do a whole conversation with yourself too about, why am I doing this? Why have I actually think that this is a good idea? Okay, because I think you've got to have some substance behind your decision, you know, why you're doing it. And I think you have to do your sums. I mean, you can't, I'm very reactive, you know, I'm very reactive, probably too much, where my husband will say, well, you know, whoa, you know, let's just come back a couple of pegs, you know, and that's my personality, because I always look at the good things that can happen, but you do have to also look at the consequences, you know, impact on your family, impact on your finances, and impact on your future. But I'm very much of, more so saying, instead of saying could have I done that, you know, should have I done that, why can't I do that, you know? And I think if you sort of, I've never been one that say I wish I'd done that, you know. If I there's been probably a couple of things I've missed the mark on, and I've thought, damn, I knew I should have done that, you know. But a lot of the time I tend to really think about the big picture, you know. I'm very, at the moment, always putting butcher paper out, you know, looking at things in the circle and what's in the middle and little branches of that, what's it going to mean to my life, you know. But I think fear can be I call it a bit of a bad taste in one way, but it can be bittersweet as well. You know, you have to have common sense. But I think your leap of faith sometimes, and I've had this conversation with some really successful people too that hadn't been successful, and they were looking at opportunities. And sometimes that leap of faith, what's the worst case scenario? If you're going to lose your house, or if you're going to, you know, your marriage is going to suffer for it, you're going to lose your whatever. You got to look at the fractures that could occur from this. You know, you got to be realistic, and are you prepared for those sacrifices if they're going to be significant? You know, or can you work through it and not get to that extreme? You know, I've done a bit of training in that space too, and I think it's really important. You have to navigate through the process. Where I'm the first one to say, let's do it, you know, and then find out how we do it. And now, even in council, it's very frustrating for me at times. You can imagine with my personality, because the first thing I say is, why do things take so long? And yes, I know there's shut doors, I know there's roadblocks, but push them over, open the doors. You know, if we want to get somewhere, don't tell me it's too hard. And sometimes there is some, I'm not making it sound like everything's easy, but there are some really frustrating things I hear at times. And I know when I was mayor, you know, CEO, he'd see me coming in the office at times, and I'd have this look on my face, and I'd have this power walk, and he'd be thinking, oh God, here she comes. There's something going on, you know, because my body language would say, right, you know, here we go. And I go barging into his office, and, you know, you'd almost see him sort of go, whoa, you know, she's just, but yeah, I am very positive, and I'm also, you have to be sensible, you know, and you have to look at the consequences, but you also have to look at the opportunity. And some of those consequences might need a little bit of pumping up, you know, to really make sure that they're not going to be such an issue. But fear can be disappointing, because sometimes it stops people doing a lot of things.
I've got a question. I'm Keely. I'm Kim's sister, for those of you who don't know. I think just listening to Kim, obviously we have lots of conversations, often on a daily basis. Just a couple of things that she said have actually, they're not surprised me, but they've made me understand a little bit more, Kim. And what you were just saying then about making that decision. So that journey about council, yes, I was along the way with you, and I saw the fear. And at one point I thought, is she going to be able to overcome it? So how you overcame that, from what I see, it wasn't anyone helping you. It was something you had to do yourself. So I think I learned a lesson from that as well. Just thinking, you know, being positive and being able to do something. It's all about a mindset, and just that capability can be learned along the way. So I think your journey, from me watching you, is incredible, but it's also given sort of that empowerment, I guess, that, you know, it can be, anyone can do it. And, you know, you say yourself, you left school at 15. I mean, a lot of people in business write people off for that, you know, and it's something that you've never kept as a secret. You've always been very open and honest about it. And not once did you think, oh, gee, to make my journey a better one, I better go back to school. But you've done other things. And I think that's an important part of your journey as well.
Yeah,
I think that's brilliant. Sorry, Kim. I think that's brilliant, Keely, because no, Kim has not used that as a crutch. Kim has not used that as an excuse. Kim has not let that stand in her way. She's just forged forward irrespective. And I see a world where People are not taking responsibility for themselves and their actions anymore, which is a bit disturbing. And it's refreshing to see someone that just, yeah, you know, that was my life. That's what it is, and there it is. But here am I as a person, and it doesn't define who I am, and it certainly has not held me back from where I am today and my journey forging forward. And just on that fear thing, you did it anyway, fear or no fear, you threw yourself into the ring, right? So anyone that's read Brene Brown, Daring Greatly, the opening quote from that book, I love it. And it talks about being in the arena. Some people watch and talk about the people in the arena, and the arena is life. And other people just get in the arena and do it. And so you did it. You got in the arena and did it. So it's an absolute credit to you. Kim, Heather's got a question. Do you want to unmute yourself, Heather, and you want to throw that question yourself? I'm just following the chat.
Yep, no worries. Yeah, so Kim, I've completed the financial independence, not sure, financial freedom course with Tracy. And in the beginning, one of the things that we were asked to do was to think about our parents' relationship with money, and if that had influenced the way that we experienced our own financial matters. So I wondered, with you especially leaving home so early, and yeah, I was interested in how your parents might have influenced you with your financial decisions.
Yeah, it's a really good question. You know, we never had much money, and it certainly made me, I'm not, this sounds really interesting. Like money doesn't drive me a lot. I mean, of course we all need money, and I think we all need to have success, and we all need to have a roof over our heads, but it's not the number one thing in my life. I mean, to me, you know, health and happiness and the cliche things really that matter most. But, you know, I can remember, you know, we really didn't have a lot, you know, and I can remember us, you know, we always had food, we always had, you know, meals, but, you know, many years later, I was working at the pharmacy, and this lady came up to the counter, and I knew her face very, very well. Right? I've got this incredible memory. And she said, I said, I know your face. And she said, yes, Kim. She said, I used to be, I'm one of the Duckett's milk, you know, family, blah, blah. And she said, yes. I said, that's right. I said, you used to come to our door for the payment of the milk, you know, whenever she come once a month, whatever. I said, did we pay very often? Because I remember having to say Mum wasn't home, you know. But this woman was so beautiful. She said, you know, Kim, the funny thing she said I learned in life is that, you know, your family was struggling. There were 7 kids. Your parents couldn't pay the bills a lot of the time. But she never stopped delivering the milk, you know. So maybe that taught me things in life now that I want to give to people that haven't got food, or, you know, I don't know, there's just this circle of life sometimes, I don't know. But answering to your question, yeah, it made me, look, some of my siblings aren't as good with their savings as others, you know, so, and we all sort of had a similar impact. It just, does it change it? Does it make us more careful? Brendan's much more careful with me than me with money, and I'm certainly sensible when I need to be. But I don't know, I find it, I don't know, I suppose because money was never a big thing, and having to watch our budgets, particularly when Keely and I lived together, you know, she was 15, I was 18, we both worked full time, we both lived in the little unit, we budgeted, so we didn't have a lot left over. But I don't remember that being such a big deal, you know. I know what was mattered was that I was looking after her. We got to see my little younger brothers and sisters when we could, and we used to give them things. You know, all my siblings always made sure the younger siblings had what they needed. I remember my older brother buying my school books when I was at school in year 7 or 8, you know. So I suppose the answer to you is that I suppose I haven't really thought a lot about it, how it maybe those that you know, financial disadvantage growing up. We always had each other as siblings. We were always very close, and we always looked out for each other. So that, I don't know, maybe that's the difference that gave me that different aspect of positivity growing up. And yeah, we had clothes. We always had things we needed, but it was never the best, you know, op shop clothes, and, you know, whatever we needed, we had.
And probably, like, it sounds as though money wasn't important, you know, wasn't, as long as there was food on the table and you all had each other, then that was the most important. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I remember it. Yeah, that's how I remember it. Yeah.
I think we do overindulge our children just a little bit, though, Heather, to compensate for what we didn't have.
That's the problem.
You and I are both very good with that.
Yeah, we do. And Keely and I have had this conversation, you know, but this is probably where we've been affected more. You know, we probably both over mother, and I can definitely speak for myself, and I know my sister very well as well. You know, we have probably tried to, you know, really nurture our children and wrap our arms around them completely, you know, all of our life. And now I've got Emma who's here, she's 32, you know, Livy's 28. And it's interesting, the tide changes, you know, like, you've got to let them grow up and you've got to give them that arm's length. You've got to let them be the people they need to be. But I do have this constant, you know, little bit of wanting to pull them back in. And, you know, I'm the mum, I'm the one that should be making sure they're okay, you know, where it's interesting. Livia taught me something not so long ago, and it was a bit about me being on council too, where how am I dealing with the criticism? Because you're going to get it. Put yourself out there. Brendan worried about that as well. Emotions, you know, you get angry, you get this, you get that, you know. And it was interesting. I know there was a time when Olivia was having something going on, and, you know, and she was unhappy about something. So I jumped in the car and I went to Melbourne at that time when I was allowed to, because she was unhappy. And it was almost like, what are you doing here? You know, I'm allowed to be unhappy. I'm allowed to, you know, experience emotions. You've got to step back and let me do these things, you know. And it was a really good learning, because I think when you feel you've had an experience that you didn't get what you needed, we didn't get perhaps the mothering that and the parenting that we really needed, you try and overcompensate it. And Keely's this is exactly what we do. You know, Livia had 52 Barbies. I never had one. You know, every week I would buy her a Barbie. She had to have, I think it was 100 actually in the end. It was insane. I just was totally spoiling them. And it was just, and even Brennan would say, you know, he'd come home and he'd say, Kim, stop buying them clothes. Stop, you know, because I would constantly feel good about doing those things. And I've had to really, and particularly as my girls have got older, now they're turning around, they're saying things like, you need to be the one not, you know, socialising and being amongst people during this COVID. And, you know, it's almost like the pointed fingers on the other side of the fence now. And it's actually lovely. I mean, having children from birth to my daughters being 28 and 32, there's nothing in life that's been a learning, number one, because it's such a learning being a mother, because you want to be good at it, but you've got to let a person be who they want to be and who they need to be, and you can be part of that, of course. And I hope I have been. I'm sure I'm definitely part of who they are today. But there's a big but, and Keely and I get this but all the time. We need to give them space, you know, and we need to let them develop in their own way, that they need to do that. You know, a mother has a role always in life. The mother's always there. You know, there's always a role. But yeah, Keely and I, we definitely can relate to that. We and my daughter's here today, you know, we've had lots of really good conversations about that, you know, about how we love each other, but how we need to let them, give them some breathing space, you know, give them some time to, if they want to be annoyed, if they want to be unhappy, or they, you know, or emotions in life, we should all be allowed to experience. And I didn't want my girls not to be happy at any time. I didn't care what that meant. I always thought happiness was the only emotion when it comes to my girls. But that's not life. Life is about understanding, you know, as I said, if I'm upset, let me be upset. Don't think you've got to fix it. I want to fix it straight away. You're not allowed to be unhappy, you know.
I think as mothers, for those of us that are mothers, we can totally relate to those emotions, because all we want to do is take their pain, whatever it is, and I'll take it, but I want you to be okay. So that's so understandable. I want to touch on one other incredibly interesting thing about yourself, Kim, is your ability to see opportunities, not be afraid of change, your innate ability, your street smarts, I suppose, your instincts to be able to see opportunities. And I guess it comes back to you growing up way quicker than you had to, you having to be conscious in your household of what was going on and be able to respond very quickly, as you just shared with us. And I think you're absolutely right how you touched on that and said, I think that's prepared me for, you know, the journey that I've had and the decisions that I've made and where I am today. And I think that's incredibly powerful. And I think I feel a bit old, because I keep thinking about, I am now the next generation. I remember looking at my older sisters and thinking, oh, you old bags, you know, as we used to say back in those days, and now I'm the old bag. But having said that, I feel there's a generational gap where some of the things that we learnt and we have our generation, I feel it's either hibernating, trying to be nice, or just not there, or lost in translation. I don't know what's going on, but your ability to adapt, evolve, see your surroundings, you know, see the opportunity and hone in on it and capitalize on it. Can you give us a bit more insight into that?
Yeah, and look, I've seen lots of opportunities for lots of people, you know, and I believe that we can all achieve lots of things that we don't expect we could. You know, I think that's a really good thing to think about. And I've had the opportunity to speak to lots of younger people as well, particularly when they're heading into it, you know, their career paths and when they're looking at opportunities in life, and don't always have it to be a closed book. You know, sometimes we think we have this skill, or we have this life, we have this job, and we think that that's it. You know, and maybe that is perfect for that person at that time. But I always say, you know, always just open your mind to lots of things, because you might be surprised what you actually can see, or what comes your way that you perhaps haven't seen before. And I have seen the most amazing life changes, career changes, you know, within men and women, that I didn't expect to see that happen. Or I've seen someone actually demote themselves to a point where they were, the opportunities they were heading were not the opportunities in life that was going to make them happy either. You know, so sometimes you go, okay, there's an opportunity to go and be the head of this or whatever, but that's really not what I would be much happier working in. You know, I had a person recently, a guy that I know, that became a nurse, and he was on a very high end blue collar, whatever they call it, you know, job. And he always wanted to be in this more, you know, health services, that top sort of space. And one day he just woke up and said, that's what I'm going to do, you know. So I think that doesn't happen. I think opportunities are different. Now, when I saw the opportunity with Don, you know, and I've seen a few other opportunities along the way, you just have to sort of work out what that means for you too. I mean, can you be part of that? Is it going to be a success for you to make a change? A lot of people, I hate someone staying in something they're really unhappy. You know, if they're really unhappy within a job and they feel trapped, and I've had this conversation too with some people as well, what can you do to change that situation? Is it going to be further education? Is it going to be discussions with your husband or your partner or a friend? It's going to help you understand what a better change might mean for you, because people get so stuck in their comfort zone. You know, they get so, and that's the thing, we all need to be able to pay our bills. Let's face it, you know, we need to know what we're doing. But sometimes we get this suffocation where you just think, oh my God, you know, to get out of bed and go to work and have to face that again. Well, no, you need to make a change. I just think that's really unhealthy. And I think it's such a waste of your life. We've only got the cliche, the one life. Let's try and really embrace it and have a fulfilling life. And that's why I say I believe everyone can have a fulfilling life, but it's what it means to you might be something very different to me. You know, for me at the moment, fulfillment is really definitely supporting the community at the moment. We have this little bit of anxiety of, you know, this is a difficult time. And for me, you know, my opportunity to do what I do makes me feel good. You know, I don't say that you have to go and do that, because this is the thing. Some people think, oh, you know, Kim does that. Why does she do that? You know, and people sometimes have their negative opinions, but I get such a sense of purpose because that's how I get fulfillment. But what each of us get fulfillment can be very different things. You know, my husband, you know, what he gets for fulfillment is very different. He'd rather go outside on his bike and have some peace and some outdoors, and yeah, that's great. He's just retired, you know. He loves to have quiet time, and he loves to just different to me. So I don't expect him to come and do what I do. I did make him volunteer a week ago because I couldn't, because I fell over. I hurt my leg. So you know what I mean? But he would support what, you know, if I said, I want you to do this because I need your support, yes, he would do it. But that's not going to fulfill him the same way it fulfills me doing that volunteer job that I do, so if that makes sense. So opportunities, fulfillment, I think they line up pretty strong.
And do you think there are some people that you've met over the years that, you know, we've been told so many times, opportunities right there in your face, and some people literally can't see it, are so closed off that they can't see it. You've obviously never had trouble with that. Have you ever experienced that with the people around you? And how is it that you see it? What it seems like it's your superpower.
I've seen a lot of people that have had not the confidence within themselves and not the belief or ability. You know, I've had a couple of young girls. I've got one girl I've had a lot to do with over a lot of years. Her name's Chanel, and she's a little gorgeous girl, and she's a nail technician. And she first came to me very young, like 16, and was having, you know, some issues. And I really nurtured her and helped pull her, I could see not just trying to get her to have a job and be able to get back into society more, but I could see, she could see I believed in her. I could see there was, things ahead of her that we could have a journey to get to. And I think that's a big thing. Someone else believing in you can also be very, very powerful. And I've had that as well. People say, Kim, of course you can do it. When I was going to be mayor, I come home and say, oh, should I put my hand up for mayor? Am I going to be able to, again, do it well? And, all those things that you question. But other people around you too. I mean, if they're genuine about it, and my family are the best platform I can go to. We have this group message and they will tell me, if that's not a good idea. We have these funny conversations. But depending on others isn't such a bad thing, and listening to others is an important thing, because if it's the right people. With this young girl I've had, she's 23 now. I met her when she was 16, and she's had her own little home-based business. She's created her life. She's, we're very good friends, and she knows I'm here just a message away. That's the sort of thing that, is very fulfilling, because you see potential in someone else. And we've all got some form of potential, and how they want to develop that and how you can assist. If you can assist with that, I think that's just the best thing, to be able to help someone, to get somewhere in life that perhaps they wouldn't have before if they had not had support. I wouldn't have got where I've gotten if I hadn't had support when I was younger. Incredible, wonderful people who are still really good friends that believed in me, supported me, encouraged me, to do the things I wanted to do, to work hard and, just try and make a life, whatever that means. Every life is different. One thing I wanted to touch on before I forget, and I've got it in my notes here, youth is a very important thing too. The younger people, I love kids. I love children because they are so brutally honest, which is funny, but I love it. And the teenagers, last week I had a young guy contact me and he said, Kim, I'm 18. His name's Tom, and he said, most of my friends don't even know what the election means. The local government election, they don't even they just want to get their name, they don't even understand it. They don't know state, federal, I shouldn't be saying generically, but he was saying to me, a lot of them don't even understand it. Would you be able to, give me some information about, this? So I said to him, this is great. So we started this conversation. Then we started talking about getting back to maybe having school councils, which I've been very interested in doing, and even junior school councils, right? We had the Wilmot Road kids come in and present to council about what we should be doing with the flats. It was sensational. They came in and they were so proud. And what that taught me is that they should be more engaged in community and decisions and have an understanding. Last night I got an inbox, I got a message, and it was from a dad. And he said, Kim, my 10-year-old daughter said, I have to vote for you because she wrote to you 3 times when you were mayor and every time you replied. So what that meant to her is that she was important, and she was also part of community. So I see so much need to engage with children, schools, engage with the teenagers, the youth, the high school kids. My daughter Em's a high school teacher, so I get to hear a bit in that space. But I just think we need to bring everyone in. And I know it's interesting, but when I saw those Wilmot Road kids come in, there was like a busload. They came into council. 4 of them got up and they spoke to us and they talked about, they'd done all their research. And I thought, that's the future. Let them be more informed and let them be part of community. But this message I got last night, I'm getting an extra vote because the 10-year-old daughter, but I took the time 3 times to respond to a letter, because she mattered. And I think this is the thing, kids are such an interesting space and an interesting space of learning. I've got to get back to that, Daddy. I did get back to him and say that's lovely, and yes, you listen to your daughter. But the message for me from that was that I'm really glad that she did matter, and I did take that time to respond to her letter. Now she looks at me and looks at local government as something important, and that's important. That's about community.
I love your outlook. I love that, Kim, and I agree with you. I think the youth is the future, and the fact that they are getting involved at that level, there are so many benefits involved in that. Taking ownership of your own community at that level and being part of the decision making and being heard and having the ability to actually express an opinion, builds confidence, all the stuff that we've been talking about for the last hour. But I think there's not enough of it, particularly in Australia. I think the Americans seem to be they look to be more involved in those sorts of things or have more knowledge around the political process. But in Australia, we're so easygoing and we're sort of like, she'll be right, mate, type of attitude. And that's lovely, don't get me wrong. I love that about us. But I do also believe what you're saying in the fact that if we can encourage that and promote that, I think there's so many benefits associated with the flow-on effect of that. That would be incredible. Is that something you would be looking to encourage and push?
Absolutely. And when I spoke to Tom last week, I mean, I did say to him, you know, do your friends understand that their vote, what that means, that that person is going to do things within the community that you've actually put them in to do, you know? So it's, yeah, I think all those conversations are really important. And I think including the youth, you know, student council, primary school, you know, I just think it would be such an interesting, positive interaction. Absolutely. And as I said, we saw it with Wilmot Road. But yeah, look, I love the youth, and I have a lot to do with. I've spoken at lots of things where there's been lots of, you know, teenagers and youth and school. Emma's school, I've been there a few times. I constantly want to be involved in that because I learn from that as well. You know, and the good thing about it, you can say, well, what do you expect? You know, what do you see us doing that's perhaps not what we should be, or is there things we could be doing more of or less of? You know, we are a whole community made up of so many interesting things. I mean, we are such a multicultural community, and that enriches our community. I've got to learn so much from so many other people. It's incredible, their culture, their, you know, the things they do within their culture, their beliefs, you know, there's support mechanisms within a community like ours is incredible. So we are such a broad, open, successful communicator, I think, with all different walks of life, but we just need to look at other ways of improving on that and what the future brings within that space. And but yeah, I love talking to the young kids, the teenagers. Yeah, they're good fun.
Heather says that well, she works at GoTAFE, and I'll let her take the floor in terms of what the comments that she's just put up there.
Yes, I was just thinking, Kim, it's really interesting at GoTAFE that we don't have a student body, and we've got a new director that's come in, and he's looking at our system and thinking, well, where's the student voice? You know, why are the adults in this organisation making all the decisions? And some students are adults as well, obviously, but yeah, so I'm really excited to see where that goes. I'm just so surprised we haven't got one there yet. But also definitely more education in schools. I'm a teacher beforehand, I'm a counsellor now, but we don't educate students about politics. I think they see it maybe as a boring topic. Like, I love talking about it, but yeah, not enough education, definitely.
You're right, Heather, and that's so important, you know. And we know our early child years are where we've got a lot of weakness too, you know, 0 to 6. We're working on that at the moment. But I think, you know, getting your organisations together as a collaborative approach too, you know, because TAFE would have such a great input to what they're offering within the youth, because they do their apprenticeships and all that sort of training that they do. But yeah, there's so much opportunity, and I think we could definitely look at how that would work so that we can have, you know, more connection, a better connection, and strengthen what we're already doing. Absolutely, because people are just a bit lost in it all. And council being such a broad organisation, there's also so many tiers of other opportunities of connection. You know, it's not always about rates and rubbish and the traditional things that council do. It's such a place of connection, and I've tried myself to really maximise those opportunities. And one of my biggest aspirations, particularly living here all my life and being so passionate about our region, is that to really highlight who we are and trying to get the region acknowledged, you know, for being a place of opportunity, you know, so you can have the educational opportunities here, to be a place of, you know, to want to raise a family and live here, because we know Melbourne is becoming so hard as far as, you know, buying a house there. It's become almost, you know, achievable to own a home. So, you know, to really push Shepparton, Greater Shepparton, I've really worked hard to put us in the spotlight the last 4 years. And I sat on Regional Cities Victoria, which I was deputy chair, so 10 regional cities. And I was constantly really pushing my way to the front line, you know, to really get Greater Shepparton highlighted, because it was always about Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong, getting all the things that they get, you know, and Shepparton being almost the poor cousin. And finally, I think we've pushed our way into that circle, and we're getting much more, you know, investment. We're seeing it across our city now, across our region. We're getting much more acknowledgement. So that has to continue. And one of those part of that success, of course, is education. You know, we need to have the skills here that people can get jobs and work here. We need to make sure that the youth have the support within that space so that they can have a career and a life that they can, you know, really have a success with. So education is the key, absolutely.
Yeah, we don't want to lose our young talent to
No.
Melbourne, and then they never come back, or they come back when they settle with families. And all of those resources are going out of our community. But you know, what you achieved on council, particularly as mayor throughout that time, was incredible. I particularly remember the campaign with in Fed Square. That was absolutely brilliant. So, you know, you've done so much in such a little space of time. I can't wait to see. I know you're going to get in. I know you're going to smash it. We're all going to vote for Kim, right? And
Nothing's a sure thing.
What's that?
I said nothing's a sure thing, but I'd love to. I hope I get re-elected. I've got still so much more I want to do. I'm still so passionate. I've still got the fire in my belly more than ever. So let's hope. So I really want that opportunity. But look, you know, like with nothing's a given. I'm not being, you know, silly about it. You just got to put your hand up and say, I still want to do. I still want to be involved. I've got a lot to offer. But I do absolutely believe in a team effort. It's not just about, you know, vote one me. It's all about the team that comes through that, and what's that going to mean? Hopefully, you know, really great, strong leadership coming into these, you know, these times that we're coming into more than ever. We need really, really strong leadership. We need, you know, commitment. We definitely need commitment, and we also need compassion and all those emotions that we're going to have to work really hard to work through the next journey of council in the 4-year term. But it's exciting, and it's great to be part of those decisions, and it's such an incredible privilege. And I certainly take my role with the biggest respect and responsibility. You know, when I first got elected, you know, to go in deputy mayor, I thought that was a great learning, as it was. 2 years of mayor, so busy, but such an opportunity, because the mayor's the spokesperson, and you get to do the things that I want to do as much as I can within the role, and the mayor gets to do that. I was disappointed I didn't get the last term, but I can't be too unhappy and too greedy. I had 2 years as mayor. It has been a short term, you know, election coming up October, as we know. Mayor will be re-elected in November, so that will be the new councillors vote for the mayor. I sort of wish it was a public vote, but it's not. It's the way it is. I'll put my hand up again, because I believe if I get elected and I'm on council, I want to do as much as I can within that role, and mayor gives me the opportunity to do that. I take my council role as a sidestep from that, so I still do as much as I can within my council role, but you do have more limitations compared to being the spokesperson. So yeah, I just want to do as much as I can while I'm in there and work hard.
Yeah, well, you know, the way I see it, we need someone like you as mayor, someone that's a go-getter and someone that pushes through, sees opportunity, all the things that we've been talking about, all of those qualities are super powerful. And at the end of the day, it just benefits the whole community in the Greater Shepparton region, as you're talking about, because to have someone like you with such passion and with such honesty and integrity taking this role seriously, that's what we need. And I hope and pray that everyone that gets elected to council is a good group of people that don't get bogged down in red tape. You were talking about the bureaucracy of it all. I can't do bureaucracy at all. So it's a testament to you as a businesswoman that you've come across to the dark side, Kim, because as a businesswoman, as you know, you can wake up one morning and decide, I want to do this, and there's no committee, there's no red tape, you just do it, right?
Yep.
And then now you're in this role. So you're doing it ever so graciously. So congratulations to you for doing that. And yeah, it's people like you that we need, that actually has the patience and the ability to cut through all of that stuff and move forward. But is there any other questions before Heather says tourism and jobs for Greater Shepparton would be great to see. Yeah, look, without a doubt, without a doubt. And again, I just want to make mention, people like Kim who have been in business, they're the types of people, this is merely my opinion, they're the types of people we need on council, because at the end of the day, they come from the real world. They've run businesses. They understand. They're not funded by the government. They are street smarts, business people that take all of that knowledge, all of that experience, and bring it into, you know, council role where they're able to make intelligent, informed decisions based on their experience. We really don't need institutionalized people, and I, you know, I say that with all respect, but we need business people like Kim that can come in and make those decisions that are relevant and is going to make the difference. So is there any more questions before I thank Kim and I let you all go and get on with your day? Anyone would like to?
I was just going to respond to Heather's question just quickly too about tourism. You know, when I first elected, and even as a person living in Shepparton, what does tourism mean? I tried to look at what did tourism mean to our community, particularly when I was elected. You know, how do we attract more people here? Because we don't have the river set up like Echuca, we don't have, you know, the Geelong, we don't have, you know, the places that have those attractions of water or whatever that may be. I was really looking at, as Tracy says, businesses and opportunities to how do we get people here to develop our economic opportunities. One of those I've worked really hard on has been conferences, and we attracted, I think in my first term of mayor, something like an extra 44 conferences. I basically one a week. Then we started really stepping that up. And now with Sam coming, Sam we know is very controversial, but there's so much opportunity there because we will have a great conference centre there as well. We'll have it's a reception centre on the roof. So it's about 120, I think. But that will be an opportunity to, and already we're getting interest, you know, in conferences, because when people come for a conference, if it's a 2 or a 3, or some of them we had a 5-day, we had a 5-day one come once. That's been great because we are developing that, because they'll stay, they'll have accommodation. You know, so I did a talk at a breastfeeding conference at the East Bank one day, and I said to everyone in the room, and I was just being the mayor, just coming in to say hi, who has not been to Shepparton before? More than half the room hadn't been there, right? So that was interesting. So then I thought, okay, how do we get these people like this back? That come for a conference? We need to share our story, who we are, what we do, how we embrace people that come to our community. So with the economic development team, we worked a lot on that. You know, how do we attract people? So conference is a big one. We know sporting, you know, we're the sporting capital of Victoria. Now we've had kicking goals with sport. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how much fun I've had with that. And just let me tell you one quick story, because it's my favourite story. When I was with the International Beach Volleyball, we had that here, and I was asked to run onto the sand every chance I had, because that was filmed internationally. So these are opportunities that we get for our region. So I ran onto the sand, no shoes on. Every break I'd say, you know, I'm Kim, I'm the Mayor Greater Shepparton. We have such an incredible opportunity here for you to come. We have the best land, we have sun. I had all these spiels ready. A couple of days later, I got this interesting phone call from a gentleman who said, oh, hello, Kim, I saw you on International Beach Volleyball, and I'd like to know more about Greater Shepparton. I've got a company and I'm very keen. He wouldn't tell me what that was straight away. After I hung up, I went and Googled him. I still couldn't get any information, but a long story, very, very short. It's a medicinal cannabis farm. Now, that's a $160 million investment, 400 jobs that we got out of just saying, this is who we are, come here. You know, Greater Shepparton is a place you need to be. So we have to push the pedal. You know, we can't sit back, and I say this often, we sit back and go, come, you know, come and work it out for yourself. And that's where Fed Square was good too, Trace. When Federation Square became Shep Square, we got to so many people, and there's a lot of opportunity that came out of that as well. So, you know, we've got to not sit in our own corner. We've got to get out there. We've got to push ourselves.
Is amazing.
It was fantastic. I was so excited when it all went ahead. Tommy's really become a very good friend now, who actually owns the medicinal cannabis farm. He's a very quiet gentleman, and he's done a few presentations at council, and he'll speak, and then he'll say, now I'm going to get Kim to speak, and she'll make it sound whistles and bells, you know, because he's so very quiet, and I'm very, you know, positive about things. But he actually offered me a job when I didn't get my mayor job. He's so funny. He's like, do you need a job? No, it's fine. So, you know, it's those sort of successes that I'm proud of, because it's connecting to the right people and it's getting ourselves out there. We can't sit back in our own little corner of the world, because we'll have a dark shadow and people won't see us. We've got to push ourselves out. We've got to really pump up, you know, our tyres. But the sporting events have been phenomenal, international sporting events. And then we've got investment in facilities, because we've catered for those type of events. So when you have success, greater success comes with it. You'll get future opportunities. I absolutely believe it. And
it's exactly that mindset and exactly that get up and go that you're talking about right now that we need, and it's exactly that you are that's brought that success to us, and that's what we need. So good luck. We're all behind you, Kim. I thank you for your time. Thank you for your honesty and sharing so openly. You make everyone feel absolutely at ease and comfortable. So I thank you for everything. I thank everyone else for coming. Yeah, make sure you support Kim at the next election, and we'll see everyone on the other side. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day. It's been great to see you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.